people have died with coronavirus in the UK. It's the highest daily number reported so far, and up nearly 400 on the figure announced this time last week. 33,355 new cases of COVID-19 have been recorded in 24 hours. 4.27 million people have now received a dose of coronavirus vaccine. The First Minister of Scotland has announced an extension to lockdown measures in the country.
The Cabinet decided this morning to maintain the restrictions which are currently in place. That means that the lockdown restrictions, including the strict stay-at-home requirement, will remain in place across mainland Scotland and some island communities until at least the middle of February.
Nicola Sturgeon's also said schools and nurseries, which were due to reopen on February the 1st, will have to remain closed as well. It's estimated 1 in 8 people in England had coronavirus antibodies in December, suggesting they'd had the infection at some stage. It was 1 in 10 in Wales, 1 in 11 in Scotland, and 1 in 13 in Northern Ireland. 2 US Army National Guard members have reportedly been removed from the security mission to protect Joe Biden ahead of tomorrow's inauguration. It's after intelligence officials found they had ties to fringe right-wing militia groups. Our US correspondent Cordelia Lynch says any threat is being taken seriously.
There was talk about the possible threats of an inside job, if you like, that those National Guard, the 20,000 or so that are here on the streets of Washington, needed to be vetted and could pose a threat themselves.
Flood defences are being prepared in parts of England with an amber warning for heavy rain in force from Manchester down to Peterborough. And Peter Andre's revealed he's still suffering the effects of COVID-19. The 47-year-old TV star says he still has no sense of smell 11 days after testing positive. That's the latest. I'm Andy Heck.
This is Revive FM 94.0.
Reviving communities.
The views expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of Revive FM or its management.
Hello and welcome to Revive FM. My name is Henry Scott and I'm here with my wonderful co-host
Tom Hutchinson.
And how are you? Anyway,
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. It's I won't lie. I'm kind of on my Jack Jones a little bit because my amazing housemate has decided to seek a warmer climate for employment. But yeah, I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. How's your week been so far?
Yeah, pretty good, man. I've been ramping up the exercise because I sort of felt like, hold on a minute, because basically I've over the past couple of months I've been losing quite a lot of weight. I've lost around nearly 12 kilos now.
Nice.
Since September, something like that.
It's sort of gone off of you and gone on to me, I think, by the looks of what's happening at the minute.
No, but realistically, like, it's not a bad thing to put on weight during lockdown. I mean, you're moving around a lot less. I wouldn't worry about it, man. You'll shed it off.
That and the kebabs have to stop as well. Yeah.
But the thing is, right, I was thinking, I should probably get back on the bike. Because I'd been going every 2 to 3 days, and I thought, let's try and go every 2 days and then have a break. So every 2 days have a break, 2 days have a break, or every other day, because that's what I've not been doing. So I've been just trying to build it up,
I'll tell you what, though, have you seen those things they advertise? Those the Peloton bikes. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have.
They are. I mean,
stupid.
It's £3,000. I mean, it's actually cheap to have a gym membership. Right, you might get coronavirus out of the back of it, but still, it's like.
I mean, you don't need to get a Peloton. You can just get a normal treadmill, can't you? Surely.
Well, they have the new ones now. The Peloton Pluses. They've now got treadmills on the sides. So it's so bizarre. I mean,
I don't personally see the point of that. Actually,
no, I don't. Yeah,
money in my opinion.
Well, it's $3,000, and to be honest with you, I just think you could put that towards a really top-notch Jill. That's my nan. A top-notch gym membership, and personal training and things like that. It's a little bit silly, really. But I mean, I've been trying to sort of just do what I can, either at home or going out for a run. Obviously, you're only allowed. Well, I think they're talking about bringing it in, aren't they? The hours worth of exercise. Aren't they?
I don't know, man. It's not good. Not good at all.
I know. Well, I was actually planning on playing a game of rugby last weekend, but unfortunately, my friend Matt has mucked that up. So thanks, Matt.
What?
Matt, yeah, my mate Matt Hancock.
Oh, right.
I was
thinking, okay, sure.
Yeah. Right. He's
okay.
Well, he's been told to self-isolate, isn't he? So it's his.
Oh,
So,
right. Okay.
yeah, which
I
think
know
is
which
great.
photo you're referring to.
There we go. Yeah, no, he was pinged on the NHS app, wasn't he, to say that he's come into contact with someone and he's got to now self isolate until this coming Sunday. So obviously that little video of him holding the rugby ball in Hyde Park, he must have gone past someone who had tested positive for COVID. So it's just scary. I mean, how quick it can come along. But also, I've been just listening on Sky News, and I've had it on the on my phone just ping up just before we came on air, and it's 1,610 deaths in the last 24 hours. I mean, it's
very, very bad. It is.
I know. Well, it's funny though, and me ever being the eternal optimist. I mean, the last 24 hours, the rates have been going down. So we've got 33,355 positive tests, positive outcomes in the last 24 hours. So it's not as high as it has been, because it has been in the 40s and the 50s. But also that in London, I think they're saying we've kind of reached the peak of it, or we've gone over the peak.
A lot of hospitals were reporting that they had no spare emergency capacity for adult beds in the UK, which is basically saying if you have a heart attack, you are not going to get the treatment you deserve.
Yeah, you're on your own. Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? I mean, well, there was quite a few sort of emergencies put in at hospitals, saying that they were overwhelmed. And I think from what I heard, there's only 2 boroughs that have had or that have got cases over 1,000 cases per 100,000. That's Barking and Dagenham and Newham. So Newham, come on, sort it out. I mean, do you really want to be like this? I mean, I don't know about you. I want to be back in there with Henry. I want to be doing the show like direct and live.
So do I.
Yeah, and so but they've also had. I've actually got the numbers here. If you give me 1 second, because I thought I'll have these loaded up. That way it makes it look like I know what I'm doing on this show. Here we are. So Barking and Dagenham has the highest infection rate for its size. It had a fall of 27%. So it recorded 2,537 cases in the last week alone, which was 945 fewer than the week before. And the second highest was Newham. So the cases have fallen by 22%. But it still has 3,972 cases, and that's down by 1,100 a week. So they're still the only ones that are actually having over 1,000 cases, but the numbers are going down. So it's good in that respect. But all the other London boroughs are starting to decrease, which is fantastic news. So hopefully, they're talking about maybe dropping or going back to the tier system by March time, but it depends on where you get your news from, who you ask, and stuff like that. So it's it's quite nice in some respects, but to also hear that there was kind of 1 in 8 people had coronavirus antibodies, it goes to show you just how rife this is. And now we've got like the new strains coming in and things like that. It's still quite scary out there,
It's incredibly prevalent in the population at the minute. It's just incredibly bad. I have to say. So that's something we have to. People need to buckle down on this. I've stopped seeing my friends, much to their dismay. It's like Boris said in the first lockdown: if your friends ask you to go out, you should say no. And I will be honest, I don't think I paid attention to it largely. And then the November lockdown, I was at school, so I didn't. And then in
fairness, that second lockdown, I don't.
Matt Hancock said it did nothing.
Yeah, I don't count it as a lockdown because all that happened was the pub shut. That was all that happened. I mean, if I remember correctly, I still went and had a haircut in lockdown because it was the things were still out to stay open. But so that one I don't really count. It's kind of
what's quite funny. Matt Hancock was really honest the other day.
An honest politician?
Yeah, he was on Channel 4 and he was like, Matt Hancock, you recently said that the virus is under control. Is that still the case? And Matt Hancock just went, no.
Well, at least he's honest.
It was comical, but it just outlined the fact that there's just no. The problem is Boris encouraged people to break the rules because we're all like, it must be fine. Christmas. And then, of course, nothing worked. So
exactly, yeah, that's the issue. And then I think also the fact as well was that everyone had already made their plans. Then they pulled the plug with about, what was it, a week and a half, 2 weeks to go to say, sorry, you can't mix now.
Yeah.
Like
People
with
did it anyway because they'd already made their plans and it was all
Exactly.
very well thought out. And so nobody on the planet wanted to go, no, thank you.
yeah, and I think also because there was always already the rumors of going around going, oh, we're going to be going into a lockdown new year. We're going to be going into a lockdown new year. Everyone then started to think, do you know what? Nerds to this. I'm going to go and do it because I'm going to go into a lockdown anyway. So what's the point? It's the last time I'm going to see him. So I think that's why everyone just sort of just threw their hands up in the air and just went, you know what? I'm going to go see my family at Christmas and that's it. And you know, we're kind of in this situation now. We're back in lockdown. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to sort of limit what I do. So with me, it's literally shops, like for supermarket, go and have a bit of exercise, and that's it. The rest of the time, it's I'm sorting out house stuff, or like I mean, the only thing I actually did do today, but still, it's a medical situation. Was, as you know, I went to a clinic today to have a look at getting the old getting the Hoover fixed. But other than that, even then, I was only in and out in about 5 minutes, and I went straight to the car. Straight in, and that was it. And the best thing was it was a wasted journey because it was something that I had done about 8 or 9 months ago. So I in fairness, I didn't even really need to do that. But
very funny. Anyway, listen, mate, I think it's probably time for us to get on some news, don't you?
Because I think we should do.
I think what's quite funny is me and you need to have this conversation about what our days and weeks have been like before the show.
I know.
Two friends having a catch up on live air, isn't it?
Why not? Well, the listeners are our friends, so why not? We'll just let them know what's been going on for them.
If you want to catch up, make sure you comment below. Tell us what we want to hear.
Or call us on 0333 444 0940. See, I remember it.
0333 444 094. It's a very hard number to forget. Anyway, we've got about another 10 minutes, and I think it's probably just enough time and a perfect amount of time because I don't want to dwell on this too much to look back at the presidency of Donald John Trump. Probably the controversial, weirdest, strangest, anti-establishment, sexist,
greatest hairstyle, the best
we've ever had.
Well, technically, we haven't had because he's not ours. He's not our people. He's not our president. That's it. But
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just think. There's one day to go, and then we are PT post-Trump. That's it.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're going to have BC, AD, and now PT.
What I've got here in front of us is some comments to be looking back at of Donald Trump, right? And I was thinking it'd be quite funny to just sort of go through some of the things which he has said over the coronavirus period and also in the wider period as well. Just outrageous lines which he's just said. I
feel like we need. There's a bit of music, but I don't know if it's going to play through my.
No. Let's just have a chat, shall we?
Yeah, go ahead and go for it.
All right, so let's start off with the comments, right?
Okay.
He pulled this out recently. He said, "We were very strong. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world." And that's just it's not true.
Yeah, I don't think so because I think that the American economy was actually getting back on board with Obama, but then
no. Donald Trump, I don't want to be wrong, right? He is technically correct there. However, the economy now is even worse. And I will say that the Republicans have done a lot of tax cuts for regular people, but it is a point to make is that the US economy is in the toilet at the minute. Millions.
But then again, I think most economies are also in the same situation, aren't they?
They're doing fine, aren't they?
Yeah. China's got a 2.3% increase in their GDP, so
growth in their economy. Okay, I've got another one. We had the most people working in the history of our country, almost 160 million people. We were never even close to that. This is true, but however, it is misleading because in America, they had more people working than ever before because they had more people in America than ever before.
So it's always based on the figures, on the percentage.
Yeah, it's just based on the fact that there's been more immigration.
I mean, it's all just spin, isn't it? With him, well, it's the same with most politicians, isn't it? But it just seems I'd love to know where he gets his facts from because the thing is, and I've noticed this in press conferences or meetings or interviews. Whenever he's questioned, he doesn't have the facts. He'll just keep repeating himself, and then eventually he'll just tell them to go bye bye, shut up, bye bye, goodbye. Next question.
Talk to the president like that.
Exactly.
Telling him off like a child.
Yeah. So it's kind of a case of I'm right, I've said it, it's gospel. That's it. I don't have to prove myself. And you just think, what is the point? You can't get a straight answer out of him. God.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell 24 hours I'll be so happy he's gone.
I don't know about you, but I will be watching the inauguration tomorrow. We've got another quote here on border control. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words. Now, has Mexico paid for the wall? No. Built the wall. He's replaced and added 460 miles of fence, and most of that has been replaced anyway, just with a taller, kind of Trump-esque looking fence.
So basically, it's orange, I suppose, with with a hand sticking out of it like that, just going, it's the greatest fence.
There's a lot of tweets on Donald Trump's Twitter account before, obviously, it got taken down. I was just so surprised to see and I don't understand how this man got elected as president, because he said, if Hillary Clinton can't satisfy her husband, what makes her think she can satisfy America?
Wow. Well, what can I say? I'm presuming that his friend Vlad probably had a lot to do with it.
Well, I mean, I think I think Donald Trump and the family will be enjoying the witness protection program in Russia.
Oh, definitely. just a bit, yeah. Be off in Sochi.
There's so many more. There's just so many more things. Do you remember that time he tried to draw a hurricane path into Alabama, even though it wasn't going to go into Alabama? He just decided, just Sharpie, you draw it in.
No, I don't remember. What was it? He tried to draw and say,
He took a map that he was explaining about a hurricane and drew it into Alabama because he was like, it's going to go here.
He's just like, yeah, it's all right. They've already been there. It's already been there. Look at the place. It's decimated. It's decimated people. That's Alabama. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Here we go. On abortion, interviewer asked, do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle? The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment for the woman, says the interviewer. And Donald Trump replies, yes, there has to be some. And that was on the 30th of March, 2016.
What?
Yep.
Oh my. All right. I don't wish bad things on many people, but I would love to just meet him with no guards and just punch him just for that. That's terrible. So basically, if a woman is attacked, she's let's just say it. If she was raped or anything like that, something that's beyond her control, she's at fault. How does that work? Well, I'd love to see that if that happens to maybe, I don't know, maybe if his wife was kidnapped and see what happens, what he thinks then.
To be honest,
he blame her for that?
Donald Trump as a president has just done so much damage, hasn't he? He's created a lot of discourse. He's dealt with coronavirus literally in the worst possible way. There was a literal book, and there was a literal plan for things, because Donald Trump is essentially jealous of Obama.
Well, yeah, because he couldn't. He united a country, and Trump's divided it. I mean, they're one stage away from going back to almost a civil war almost. It's terrible.
I mean, what I love is that in 2016, when he was pitching to the black vote, Trump said, you're living in poverty, your schools are no good, you have no jobs, 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose by voting for me? That's just frankly insulting.
Yeah, it is really. I mean, it's almost just saying, like, vote for me. What's the worst that can happen? Because you can't get any worse than where you're at the moment.
That was the wrong gamble for a lot of people.
I know it's terrible, isn't it? I mean, I know it was kind of, it was two bad choices. I don't think Hillary would have done. I don't think she'd have done that bad, but I don't think she would have done as bad as Trump's done. I've got someone banging on my window. I'm currently working. Would you mind?
Mate.
That's a drawback with working from home. But the issue is that I just don't see how she wouldn't have made that bad a job. There is no way. I don't think she'd have done it. It's just an embarrassment, really. I mean, I just hope that when this is all written up and it's in the history books and the world's moved on from President Trump, we can just look at it as just like a really bad hangover and just sort of go, God, what were we thinking? Like, how did we how do we elect this guy? And I mean, I know it sounds really bad, but I'm hoping the impeachment thing goes through, because otherwise we could go back to all this again in 2024.
I think with the impeachment, he'll definitely be impeached, and that'll be the end of that. And we've just got to hope for that, in my opinion. I think it's going to be really important that the Senate convicts, even with a simple majority. The simple majority bar him from running again. Mitch McConnell says it was an impeachable offence, yet he chose not to reconvene the Senate in a couple of days beforehand. So I think it's important to know that Donald Trump not only has alienated America from the world and dropped it back into isolationism, which is already proven so unsuccessful with other countries around the world. North Korea is isolationist; they're on their own. They're not very successful economy. They don't trade with anyone, and they're also a terrorist nuclear rogue state. So
isn't it funny? It kind of all started after he met Kim Jong-un. Just putting it out
Oh,
there.
it got worse from there. What it did is it legitimized his leadership. That's why no president had met with him before, and I just think it's been a nasty 4 years, hasn't it? It's all been a very one big bad dream.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll tell you what though. Have you seen the obviously they have to have the inauguration and the celebration that happens afterwards. So when Trump had his quickly, I know because we have to go to a break, so I'll say it quickly, but he was struggling to get people like celebrities and artists to actually perform at his ceremony, and he ended up with, I think it was an orchestra of Girl Scouts. Well, Joe Biden has got Tom Hanks presenting it. He's got John Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen, Demi Lovato, Justin Timberlake, the Foo Fighters, or as Christopher Walken calls them, the Foo Fighters, all lining up to actually perform at his inauguration party.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to show sort of right there that like within 5 minutes, the tide's already turning and everyone just wants to go for Biden. I think you got to imagine as well, the country must think they want Biden to make it work because it can't be any worse than what Trump's done to it.
And the thing is, I think that's why the establishment, I think what we've realized is the establishment is a good thing because it ensures stability. Donald Trump is not establishment.
No.
And
he's not stable.
Yeah, he's not stable. We're going to bring some financial stability now to the station by playing these ads. Thank you.
Very good, sir.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk or contact our sales team now on 07944 565616. That's 07944 565616. Advertise with Revive FM.
People of Asian and Black ethnic origin are at an increased risk of COVID-19. Queen Mary University London has launched a research study called Covidence UK to find out why this is. If you are Black or Asian, we need your help to complete our studies. All you need to do is complete an online survey. Please help us to understand the coronavirus disease so we can develop tools to prevent it. Sign up at qmul.ac.uk/Covidence. Sign up and save lives.
Greetings. Today we'll be talking about COVID-19 vaccines, what vaccines do, and of course the safety issues. I would like to welcome today Dr. Shahib Qureshi, Senior GP. Can you summarize how exactly a vaccine works in the body?
Vaccines work by teaching your immune system how to defend itself against attack by creating protective antibodies. In any vaccine, the virus is then extremely weakened or inactivated and so cannot cause the disease. It's much safer for your immune system to learn this through vaccination than by catching the diseases and treating them.
Will the same vaccine work for all groups of people?
Different vaccines may work better for different groups of people, so trials have taken place on large and diverse group of volunteers. Approximately 30,000 people have already participated. As a frontline GP and one who was infected by COVID-19, I would strongly advise you to to please take up this vaccination.
Thank you for being here today, Dr. Qureshi. The COVID-19 vaccines are a huge step forward. Testing has been done to the highest standards and the NHS are ready for its rollout. For further information, please visit the website nhs.uk/COVID-vaccination.
Someone on your bus, on your train, or waiting at the platform is highly likely to have COVID-19. This is a national health emergency. Around 1 in 3 people have no symptoms and are spreading it without knowing. So you should only travel if it's essential. Always cover your nose and mouth, keep a safe distance from others, and wash your hands the moment you arrive. Stop the spread. Stick to the rules. If you bend the rules, people will die. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives.
Rosia Plumbing, the boiler specialists. We do new boiler installations, full house central heating systems, underfloor heating, boiler repairs, boiler servicing, and gas safety certification for landlords. With some of the best prices in town, there's no job too big or too small for our qualified engineers. For a free, no obligation quote, contact us now on 07956 282 948. Rosia Plumbing, the boiler specialists.
Revive FM
94.0. On the radio.
on your mobile.
And online.
Hello, and welcome back to Revive FM. My name is Henry Scott, and you're listening to Scott and Hutch on Drive Time on Tuesdays from 5 to 7. I'm Scott, and he's
Hutch.
And there's the delay because
again, I didn't think it was a
from home. You good try there. But listen, we want to talk about. We want to get the community involved. We've got James, who's Newham's public health correspondent, coming on the show later at 6 p.m. to talk for us about all the vaccinations. He'll be with us every week. So for your vaccination questions, please comment. We want to know what you want to know, and we can ask James on your behalf. Or you can call in on 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. Please do call in. We want to know how you're feeling. It's important to note, I want to talk now, Tom, about schools reopening.
Yes.
Because what we're hearing at the minute is that apparently schools across the country will not open at the same time, and it will be a bit of a postcode lottery. Harry's told MPs on the Education Select Committee that it was highly likely there would be a regional approach to the reopening of schools. And apparently schools could begin to open after February half term. It is also important to note that there's increasing concerns from the government and in local government as well that they could be closed until after Easter. Now, Gavin Williamson's also been knocking around school students quite a bit. So I'd love to if some of my school students friends, some of my fellow school student friends could drop us a question or tell us how you're feeling. But I think it's important to note that there's a lot of stress and strain that's coming with this, because I'm supposed to be doing A-levels this year. I've been told I'm not doing exams now, but now Gavin Williamson has said that the students could do mini exams. So are we doing exams or are we not?
So hang on, wait a minute. So the government's flip-flopping again. Hang on, where have I heard this before? Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just pick a road and go down it. Like if you've said there's going to be no exams now and it will be done on, I don't know, coursework grades or anything like that, just stick to it. That's the problem. Why can't people just do that? Like, honestly, how hard is it?
Yeah, it's incredibly irritating for many people. Like all my teachers who I'm being taught online at the minute, which I will say I absolutely find disgusting. I hate doing online teaching. I hate doing online radio. I'd much rather having you sit across from me in the studio, mate. Trust me on that one. I just think it's getting ridiculous to the point where I'm thinking that I just.
Go on, say it. You know you want to say it. Go on.
Sometimes I feel like crying, Tom. It's been. I don't think in my entire life there's been a government that's done as bad as this. And I know they've had a pandemic, and I know there's lots of excuses, but there's other countries which have fared far better than us, which shows it is possible to do well and do the right thing.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's also, and I've said it before, it's embarrassing because you're thinking, like, okay, the government has said they're going to go down this. It's now getting to the point. I'm now actually having. It's going to sound really silly. I'm having bets with myself to think, okay, So the government has said they're going to do this for such and such a problem. How long is it going to be until they flip flop and then say, actually, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this? Because it's like it's on a weekly basis, and you just think, like, I mean, I'm lucky. I've done my education, and all right, I didn't get much out of it, if I'm brutally honest with you, but I always I feel really sorry for you. And every time I hear there's like the government's going to change this or the government's going to change that, I literally just think like, mate, I feel like you're being pulled every which way but loose, and I can't believe it. I feel like just if it's going to be just coursework, like I said, if they mark you on your coursework, stick on coursework, because otherwise you could now be sort of gearing yourself up, not just you, but like, other people in your situation, gearing yourself up thinking, right, okay, I've got to plow everything into my coursework. I'm not going to have a test. I'm going to get all my grades based on this. And then all of a sudden, a week later, the government will then go, oh, actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're now going to do like a mini test. It'll be like a mock exam, but actually it'll be a real exam, but like a mock. So treat it like a mock. And I mean, just that's the problem. And it's like, I actually have no words. I'm speechless. Like, it doesn't happen that much, but I am.
It's incredibly bad. I think at a glance, the replacement exams so far, because the consultation period has begun with Ofqual, the regulator for exams and qualifications in the UK, with the government. And at a glance, it looks like teachers providing replacement grades for A-levels and GCSEs. Again, Gavin Williamson having a dig at himself, which I was surprised about. And evidence could include coursework, essays, tests, and homework. External tests to be set by exams board, but likely to be marked in school. And results apparently will be in early July, and vocational exams will use teachers' grades, but separate arrangements for practical skills. The issue I have is it's not going to get marked the same, is it? This issue here. How are teachers supposed to cope? Teachers are under pressure. They're not being given PPE. Teachers aren't being given tests. This entire time, schools have been a vector for transmission. Boris Johnson has been coming on the television and telling us that schools are safe. Go to school. You send your child to school. It's very safe. And then a day later, closing them without telling us that sending your kid to school is safe and children are safe from coronavirus, but not telling us that sending your child to school puts you at risk. It does. Yeah. It's a vector for transmission. So if he's trying to save lives and listen to the science, which he clearly hasn't been, because what I worry about is that scientists will be scapegoated after this, is that Boris has been saying, yeah, go to school. And just let's save lives. But in doing so, he's been killing people. That's how this has been. People live with their grandparents. You live in multi-generational households, especially in London.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, especially around here. I mean, like, the houses I live, it's, it's a big Muslim community around here. And you've got probably a good, I'd say on average, 3-4 generations in a house. And all it takes is one of them just to say, go to school or go to work or anything like that. And then they could potentially be bringing it back in. And I honestly, I don't get it. I think that was what we noted in the first lockdown, where everything shut, it was fine. When we started to gradually come out of it, pubs were opening. There wasn't that many infection rates. As soon as the schools went up, or as soon as the schools reopened, the numbers just shot back up again. And that's the worrying thing. But also, just going back to what you said with regards to the exams. Now, I'll be brutally honest with you. To me, that seemed very confusing. All right, I'm not in education. I'm not a teacher or anything like that. But I just have a feeling now that teachers are going to be absolutely confused by working on how they got to do the grades. And like, I don't think they're going to have enough time, especially if it's 6-7 months. Let's say, for example, that, you've got to still plan online lessons and things like that until March. I don't think you'll have enough time to get that new infrastructure in place to have it all ready for everyone to get their grades by July.
Do you know what I hate about this whole thing, Tom, is that as I teach cello on a Sunday to a couple of students, and I cannot stand doing online lessons. So I completely can empathize with all the teachers listening, or the parents who teach, or anyone who works in an online setting, how difficult it is to teach online, especially when everyone else's camera's off and you're getting barely any reaction. It's like talking to yourself for 2 and a bit hours. It's not the same, and it's not as effective. And I don't know.
I know. Well, we'll put it this way. I had that when we were in the first lockdown and we were doing the little kid show on Saturday, and you'd have, I don't know, we had anything from four households of kids up to say about 8 or 9, and you'd be sort of giving it all the razzle dazzle and having a laugh and doing funny sketches and jokes, and you wouldn't get anything back off them. So that was us for, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour, and I couldn't imagine what it's like with with you and your cello lessons, or for a teacher or anything like that. I mean, it must just be like you're performing to effectively you're performing to avoid. There's no instant feedback or anything like that, and it's not ideal, really, is it? I mean, you feel like almost they want to set up. Do you remember, I saw a funny picture the other day on I think it was Facebook, and they said, you were in an English school when, and it had one of those, like, the flat pack buildings,
the temporary
prefab building. That was it, yeah, temporary, yeah. And it turns out it was there for like 3.5, 4 years, and you feel like almost like it's a shame they can't just set those up, because obviously you're not allowed to mix in a playground or anything like that. Set them up in a playground and then just disinfect them after every lesson and do it that way. Or even if you just got in 1 year group, I don't know, you tried to get through as many lessons. Let's say, I don't know, year 5s went in on a Monday, year 6s went on a Tuesday, and did it like that. All right, it's kind of, you're still mixing a little bit, but I just think you could probably get a couple in and maybe do it that way. That could be another option.
Yeah. I just, there's so many problems with our education system. There's so many problems with this entire country, and I think COVID has brought a lot of them out of the rusty and old floorboards that have been hiding them away. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, what we've learned, at universal credit is not enough to live on.
Yeah, exactly.
It sometimes doesn't encourage you to go to work, does it?
No. Well, in fairness with you, I mean, I was only using it as a little bit of a top up, but the fact is that they seem to think that I can get away. I mean, I was looking at some of my reviews because I had to have a phone call with them on I think it was Friday. So I'm thinking, all right, they're going to say, okay, you've been on it for a while now. You need to say that you're getting another job or something like that. Literally, do you know what all the phone call was?
What?
It was to ask my full name, if I'd lived anywhere else in my life, and what my last take-home pay was. That was it. They had to plan that in just to get my full name and all those things. And I just think, what is the point? But I just feel like that we're lacking infrastructure. That's the problem. We're lacking direction. And
Boris has this great vision for global Britain, but I just don't like that, because it doesn't connect to me in any sense. It doesn't give me a sense of national pride anymore. It doesn't. I don't know about you, but I haven't been. I don't feel like, oh yeah, Britain, yeah. I just go, it's all terrible. There's kids who are starving, and why is UNICEF doing work here? Why do we need food banks? Why is the system not working for the common bloke? Why is it not working for me and you? Why is it not working for people who are underprivileged? The whole idea of the conservative ideology is social mobility, and for the first time in our lives, generation of millennials are poorer than the generation before them.
Yeah, it's terrible. And the same thing is, it goes back to what we're saying. You try and ask for assistance. I mean, there's some people that I've got friends, some of them who don't mind being on benefits. They're happy to sort of sit there and just do a little bit. There's other people who absolutely hate it because they can't live on it, myself included. And when you call up, I mean, I try to sort of say, can I get help with my council tax bill? I mean, I ended up having to take out a loan at one point because I wasn't getting any help from my local government. So I would say, look, I'm having issues making, like, my council tax, for example, which is about £178 a month. Can I get any help with that? And then they were saying, well, no, because at the time it was, you're a single occupant, all we can give you is that 25% off. So I said, all right, well, how do I do the rest of it? They said, well, you're going to have to look at getting benefits. And I said, well, I have done. I said, the problem is that the amount they're giving me is about 30. I think I worked out it was £38 I got last month for universal credit. £38. That doesn't even cover a week's food shopping. And I was trying to sort of say to them, look, how can I make that? That's £38. You're paying 178. I'm already in a deficit right then. I said, well, there's nothing else we can do about it. I said, well, so what then? I'm just expected just to go into the reds. And they was like, yeah, unfortunately, that's all we can say. I said, otherwise, speak to the Money Advice Service. I said, I don't need advice on my money. I said, I just need more of it. That's the problem. And it was just like they literally just wanted to pass the buck away.
It's not. It just doesn't work.
I
And I don't want to be one of the system is broken revolution. That's not about it. But
yeah, we're not French.
No, exactly. We're not French, and I just don't. I think what we really need is some real change, and we need Boris to resign as prime minister because he's not cutting it. He's not.
Yeah, he was a good mayor, but I think that was as far as he could have gone. I don't think he's cut out for sort of countrywide.
Yeah,
running.
It's too big. His brain is not attuned to it, shall we say? And now we're going to attune to some ads. I do feel good of segueing in like that, don't you? Please do stay tuned. You're listening to Revive FM with Scott and Hutch on Drive Time. Remember, we want to hear what you're feeling, thinking, and doing, and we also want to know how's your lockdown going. Talk to us. Tune in. Call in. Just comment. All the stuff. Interact with us. We're just in the studio on our own. We want to talk to some of you.
We miss you.
We do miss you. That's on 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. Please, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
ये आयशा है। ये बहुत छोटी सी थी जब इसके वालिद का एक हादसे में इंतकाल हो गया। वो अपनी माँ और छोटे बहन भाइयों के साथ रहती है। आयशा जैसी लाखों बच्चियां जिंदगी की बुनियादी सहूलतों से बिल्कुल महरूम है। यही वजह है कि वो स्कूल भी नहीं जा सकती। मिनहाज वेलफेयर फाउंडेशन ने आपकी एहतियात और अपनी खिदमत दुनिया भर के यतीम और बेसहारा बच्चों के लिए वक्फ कर दी है। एक यतीम और बेसहारा बच्चे का सहारा बनिए। आज ही अतिया कीजिए। अभी कॉल मिला 0300 3030 777 या हमारी वेबसाइट विजिट करें www.minhajwelfare.org.
COVID-19 remains highly contagious, and even people without symptoms can spread it. So we need to keep washing our hands when we get to work, keep wearing our face coverings in shops, keep making space when we're out and about.
Morning.
And now we're indoors more, we should let fresh air in to help blow COVID-19 particles away. Let's keep doing all we can to protect each other and help stop the spread. Remember, hands, face, space, and let fresh air in.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximize the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk. Alternatively, contact our sales team now on 07944 56 5616. That's 07944 56 5616.
Someone jogging, walking their dog, or working out in the park is highly likely to have COVID-19. This is a national health emergency. Around 1 in 3 people have no symptoms and are spreading it without knowing. So exercise locally. If you're on your own, you can meet one other person. But keep your distance. Exercise, don't socialize. And wash your hands the moment you get home. Stop the spread. Stick to the rules. If you bend the rules, people will die. Stay home. Protect the NHS. Save lives.
कोविड-19 का नया रूप तेजी से फैल रहा है। कोविड-19 से संक्रमित लगभग 3 में से 1 व्यक्ति में कोई लक्षण नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन तब भी वो उसे दूसरों में फैला सकते हैं, जिससे बहुत लोगों में गंभीर बीमारी का खतरा पैदा होता है और हमारे एनएचएस पर अधिक दबाव पड़ता है। वैक्सीन भविष्य के लिए आशा देते हैं, पर बढ़ते हुए संक्रमण के दर पर तुरंत कार्रवाई करना जरूरी है। फिर से हम सबको घर पर रहना होगा। अगर बाहर जाना जरूरी हो तो याद रखिए, अपने हाथ धोइए, मुंह को ढकिए और लोगों से दूरी बना कर रखिए। घर पर रहें, एनएचएस की रक्षा करें, जीवन की रक्षा करें।
Hello to everyone listening. This is a message from the Redbridge Public Health Team. Redbridge Council is holding an online public meeting about the COVID-19 vaccination, and we're inviting residents to join. It will be taking place on Wednesday, January the 20th at 1 p.m. The meeting is aimed at engaging directly with our local communities to explain the importance of vaccination and how it will work alongside other measures to contain and control the spread of COVID-19. On the meeting panel will be the Director of Public Health for Redbridge, local NHS health professionals and medical experts, as well as the borough's Cabinet Member for Health. They will be providing information about the vaccine, the vaccination programme, and myth-busting some of the negative messages around the vaccine, as well as answering questions from the public. To join the meeting, click on the live link on Redbridge Council's website homepage, www.redbridge.gov.uk, on Wednesday the 20th of January at 1 p.m. Now, more than ever, we must all play our part to help keep our families and loved ones safe. So please join the meeting to stay informed and keep following the government instruction to stay at home to control the virus, protect the NHS and save lives.
Revive FM
94.0. On the radio.
on your mobile.
And online.
Hello. You're listening to Revive FM 94.0. My name is Henry Scott, and welcome. You're listening to Drive Time with Scott and Hutch. I'm Scott, and he's
Hutch.
And please do call in because we are currently sitting in the studio with nothing to do. So that's 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. Tom, I was thinking we could talk about coronavirus for a little second. Do you mind if I
You know what? I don't
about
think
vaccine?
Yeah, we haven't spoken about it that much, but yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for a bit of coronavirus.
Exactly. So I got a little thing to read out for us here. It's just some information on the vaccine from Newham Council. It's an effective vaccine is an important step forward in our fight against coronavirus. Vaccines are only made available after they have met strict safety and effectiveness criteria set out by the UK's independent medicines regulator, the MHRA. In any vaccine, the virus is weakened or inactivated, so cannot cause the disease, but works by teaching your body how to fight COVID-19 by producing antibodies. Different vaccines may be more effective for different groups of people, so trials have already taken place at large. Diverse groups of volunteers, approximately 30,000 people. For information, including known allergens and ingredients, visit nhs.uk/COVID-vaccination. That's nhs.uk/COVID-vaccination.
There we go.
That's the readout. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Actually, I've got a little something that we could talk about. Sort of kind of based on coronavirus, but one of the main things that people have been missing out on this year, or last year, and even this year, is concerts. So I don't know. Have you heard about this?
Goodness, yeah, I'm missing out on live music so much, mate.
I know it's horrible, isn't it? Well, just even just live events in general. It's terrible, isn't it? Well, I tell you what. You know that mecca of common sense, New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Have you heard about this?
Get me started. My cousins have been sending me videos.
Oh, really? Well, I'll tell you. Well, We'll let everyone go about it. So we've got. There was a massive concert on Saturday, and it was for 660 who were performing, and it was one of the largest outdoor shows that were allowed to go ahead in the country. So, didn't have to do social distancing or anything like that. And they quickly did like a 6-date nationwide summer tour. So they've gone on to places like sort of Hastings, Christchurch, Wellington, Hamilton, Plymouth. And touch wood, it's all gone okay. The other interesting thing as well is that, so it's got, as of January 15th, New Zealand had 76 active cases of coronavirus, raising its total to 2,246 since the start of the outbreak. 2,246 versus our nearly 96,000. I mean, it's shocking, isn't it? But the other interesting thing is that there was actually an experiment done just before Christmas in Spain. Spain's had it really hard. Okay, so they put, I'll read, I've got it, just come up, give me 1 second. So there was a concert which had 463 people in attendance, and not one of them, they were tested, it was like a test, but not one of them tested positive for the virus. It's got the experimental concert took place on December 12th at the Sala Apollo in Barcelona and was conducted by the Foundation Against AIDS and Infectious Diseases of the University Hospital Germans Trias e Pujol. I probably said that completely wrong. So it was done in Barcelona and it was sponsored by a company called Primera Sound. Researchers entered into the experiment with the hypothesis that a live concert performed under safe conditions would not be associated with the risk of the SARS-CoV-2 infection, which has been proven. The safety measures introduced by researchers and the venue included lowering capacity from 900 people down to 500. They said only 463 actually attended. A mask requirement whenever not actively drinking. Optimized room ventilation in the concert room and the bar. Staggered exiting to limit smoke. Staggering the exit to the smoking patio. Staggered exiting to a limited smoking patio, and the use of arrows and security personnel to direct the flow of foot traffic. So participants who signed up for the study were between 18 and 59. Each had signed a consent form to say that they had no issues. They weren't living in a household with elderly people and they hadn't tested positive in the last 2 weeks for COVID. And upon entry, which was compromised to 4 different DJs, each guest underwent a same-day screening for the virus and received a certified N95 cloth mask. So basically, they all went there. They were put into 2 groups, and they all came out fine. There's no, there was no infections or positive tests or anything like that. So it could be the fact that, so if I keep moving around, I've got a real stabbing pain in my kidney. So
that sounds healthy.
Yeah, I know. Is that a symptom? But the really interesting thing is of that, just that those 2 concerts have gone ahead in one country which was absolutely taking a pounding from the virus, and another country where they've handled it really well, and these concerts have gone on and these performances have gone on. So where we've got an entertainment industry at the moment that is kind of on its last legs, there could be a way out of this. We might be able to get some sort of live music or a venue going. It just looks like a case of, the adverts where they're saying at the moment,
there's political will.
Yeah. But then there could be an argument that could also boost the economy if people are paying to go to events and venues, because otherwise, it's great having the O2 being used as a staging area, but let's be honest, that thing can seat 20,000 people. I mean, I'd say either turn it into a Nightingale hospital, turn it into a vaccination centre, or I don't know, maybe let the homeless go in there if we're not going to do any events or anything like that, because I think that'd be a great idea. But, that's just my opinion. But it's nice to know that.
Yeah, I'm just so upset that live music has been cancelled so long now, because you know me, I'm always doing live music, mate. Always. I spoke at Christmas, especially. I had 3 paid gigs lined up, and they've all been cancelled.
I know. I was devastated for you, and especially like if you say for your one that was going to be broadcast live on TV as well. It was going to be on BBC, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, we were going to be on BBC and singing, and it's just got cancelled.
I know. It's just horrible, isn't it? But hopefully if we get everyone vaccinated and, maybe they can bring in these new things, because that's the only thing I would say is that whenever I go to a concert, whether it's at the O2 or anything like that, it's always ventilation. It gets so hot in these venues. And this is in big multi-purpose stadiums. Imagine in like small little things like, say, Club 100 in the West End, where it's underground and, it's you feel the sweat coming off of the band's faces and all that sort of stuff. And then you have to get tested to see if you picked something up. But it's those little venues which I think they can either invest in getting, proper ventilation in and things like that. But then it could bankrupt them. That's the problem, because you might have to get sort of COVID certified air conditioning systems to stop the spread of the virus or to blow it out and things like that. So it's kind of a catch-22 really, but it might be a way of getting music back into venues and getting people back out and doing that. Maybe even doing like the rapid COVID tests, having an antigen test or something like that, on the door. You wait in a holding area for an hour. I mean, they always do the thing. They always say, make sure you get to the venue an hour before. That way you can get your beer, get your snacks, get your crisps or whatever. Go and have a COVID test. In you go. That's it. That could be another way of looking at it,
Yeah, I know. The thing is, there's definitely ways we can stay positive about this for sure. It's not the end of the world. I mean, in March we thought it was the end of the world, and then it wasn't. So I think it's certainly possible to sort that out, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. All it takes is a bit of common sense. We just need someone to actually have some. That's all. That's what we need. But hopefully, I don't know. I have a feeling. I think that when we've sort of got the top 4 high risk groups already vaccinated after what, about just under a month. That's pretty good. I mean, there's the rumor saying that we're going to get everybody vaccinated by July.
No, that's not happening. It'll be September, I think. But
I think
statistics. Well, the thing is, I made a bet with my girlfriend. She's moved in over the lockdown period. That Boris would vaccinate 300,000 people a day by the 15th of January. And I thought I was going to lose on the 14th. And then on the 15th, the number of vaccinations there were 333,348. And I was like, yes, come on.
But it's good though. I mean,
say we were both surprised.
Yeah, when they were also talking about turning it into 24 hours, I think they're going to do it. Is it in the next 10 days? They're going to start trialing it in London, aren't they?
Yeah. Now, interestingly, though, important to note, if you get vaccinated, you must still social distance. It's incredibly important. Apparently, there's lots of social scientists worried that 44% of people said they would only follow the rules after vaccination, down from 65% who they were currently abiding by advice on hygiene and social distancing. So it's just social distance. It's not that hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Do you know what? If they just said to me, like, you got a social distance, but say you don't have to wear a mask, I'll be okay with that, because that's the only thing I struggle with because of my nose and the fact that I struggle to breathe is wearing a mask. I mean, even when I went into the doctor's today, I ran up a flight of stairs with the mask on, and it was like, so how can I help you today? I sound like Darth Vader doing a marathon. It was ridiculous. But yeah, if they said, you don't have to wear a mask, I'd be absolutely okay with that. But if it's the case of you still have to wear a mask, you have to do it. Yeah, so be it. Hopefully we won't have to at some point. I mean, be interesting with landfill sites. I mean, amount of masks that will get thrown away once this is all over. I mean, we're going to have to build up a landfill site just for masks and PPE.
You're damn right we will have to. Anyway, it's time for us to move on to some ads into our next hour. There was no segue I could do there. I was really searching for it.
I've got one. Hang on. We're going to PPE the bills with these ads.
No? Payment protection insurance. Oh, that's PPI. My bad. Never mind. I was sorry for ruining that. Let's just.
And on that terrible disappointment.
On that terrible, just absolute failure of words in English, we're going to go to our ad. Please do stay tuned as we'll be talking to James from NHS public health correspondent with the NHS. Please do please send in your questions. We want to know what you have to say. Anyway, let's do these ads. Talk to you soon.
Businesses. If you deal with Europe, new rules now apply. If you haven't already, you need to get started. You can find out what you need to know on the Brexit Checker tool online. In just a few clicks, you'll get personalised actions for your business. Go to gov.uk/transition. Use the Brexit Checker tool and keep your business moving. Check, change, go.
Did you know that girls like Noura walk an average of 3 miles every day in search of clean water to support their families? Minhaj Welfare Foundation believes you can end the water crisis by building small and large-scale water projects. Your charity is helping improve the lives of communities living in the poorest regions of the world. However, more needs to be done. Support Water for All. Donate today. Call us now, 0300 3030 777. Or visit us on minhajwelfare.org.
COVID-19 remains highly contagious, and even people without symptoms can spread it. So we need to keep washing our hands when we get home. Keep wearing our face coverings on the train. Keep making space at the shops. And now we're indoors more, we should let fresh air in to help blow COVID-19 particles away. Let's keep doing all we can to protect each other and help stop the spread. Remember, hands, face, space, and let fresh air in.
Minhaj School of Islamic Sciences provides quality Islamic education for children aged between 5 and 15 years old. As well as teaching classical Islam, including Tajweed, Fiqh, Seerah, and Aqidah, we endeavour to equip children with essential Islamic manners, morals, and values. Here at MSIS, our experienced teachers create an inspirational learning environment where we strive to cater for the needs of every child. For enrolment inquiries, inquire in person at Minhaj School of Islamic Sciences, Monday to Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. at 292-296 Romford Road, or email admin.edu_London@minhajuk.org.
People of Asian and Black ethnic origin are at an increased risk of COVID-19. Queen Mary University London has launched a research study called Covidence UK to find out why this is. If you are Black or Asian, we need your help to complete our studies. All you need to do is complete an online survey. Please help us to understand the coronavirus disease so we can develop tools to prevent it. Sign up at qmul.ac.uk/Covidence. Sign up and save lives.
कोविड-19 का नया रूप तेजी से फैल रहा है। कोविड-19 से संक्रमित लगभग 3 में से 1 व्यक्ति में कोई लक्षण नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन तब भी वो उसे दूसरों में फैला सकते हैं, जिससे बहुत लोगों में गंभीर बीमारी का खतरा पैदा होता है और हमारे एनएचएस पर अधिक दबाव पड़ता है। वैक्सीन भविष्य के लिए आशा देते हैं, पर बढ़ते हुए संक्रमण के दर पर तुरंत कार्रवाई करना जरूरी है। फिर से हम सबको घर पर रहना होगा। अगर बाहर जाना जरूरी हो तो याद रखिए, अपने हाथ धोइए, मुंह को ढकिए और लोगों से दूरी बना कर रखिए। घर पर रहें, एनएचएस की रक्षा करें, जीवन की रक्षा करें।
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk. Alternatively, contact our sales team now on 079 44 56 5616. That's 079 44 56 5616.
Revive FM.
94.0. On the radio.
On your mobile.
And online. This is
Revive FM.
94.0. With the latest news from around the world.
In Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. England's Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jenny Harries, who's been talking to MPs, says when restrictions are lifted, it could be on a regional basis.
It is highly likely that when we come out of this national lockdown, we will not have consistent patterns of infection in our communities across the country. And therefore, it may well be possible that we need to have some differential application.
2 US National Guard members have been removed from the security effort to protect Joe Biden's inauguration ceremony tomorrow. It's reported they had ties to fringe right-wing militia groups. Fashion retailer Superdry is warning it has doubts it continue to operate long-term after a sharp fall in sales. Meanwhile, HSBC is closing 82 high street branches this year because more customers are going online instead. And West Brom boss Sam Allardyce is back at old club West Ham this evening, with the Premier League strugglers looking for back-to-back wins. The match at the London Stadium is just kicking off about now. That's the latest. I'm Andy Hay.
This is Revive FM 94.0.
Reviving communities.
The views expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of Revive FM or its management.
Hello.
You're listening to Revive FM.
I wasn't sure if you were there.
Hello, you're listening to Revive FM. My name is Henry Scott, and welcome to Scott and Hutch. I'm Scott, and he's
Hutch.
And there's the delay. And you're welcome to Revive FM. Please do tune in, and please get your friends to tune in. Share the link. Share it on Facebook. Share it on YouTube. Share it on Instagram. Are we on Instagram? No, I don't think so. But follow our Instagram, it's Revive FM UK, and make sure you call in on 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. We're having Jason Strelitz on hopefully later in the show, but in the instance that as a public health responder, he is generally quite busy, so we'll be hoping to get him on in the show later. But nonetheless, it's important to note. Oh, and speak of the devil, Jason Strelitz joined us in the studio. We're just going to add him to the stream, and let's get chatting. Jason, hello, how are you?
Oh, it's having the bugs with the Wi-Fi there, I think.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing?
We're doing really well, thank you. How are you? Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I think we're still having the little gremlins there, I think.
No worries. We're just going to let Jason sort out his Wi-Fi there. But in the meantime, I think I just quickly... Oh, have we got him back? I'm not sure. This is the perks of doing the radio live.
Me?
Yes, we can.
I'm good. Good. I'm good.
There we are.
I think there might be a bit of considerable delay. I suppose what we've got to start about is the coronavirus vaccination plan. It seems it's in full swing at the minute. We just seem to have lost Jason there again, but again, this is the perks of working from home. And I've had significant Wi-Fi issues last week. I'm sure it'll all sort itself out. Jason, are you with us now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Brilliant. How are you doing?
Doing really well. Thanks.
Lovely, lovely. Now, I bet you must be feeling immensely proud at the minute because of how successful the vaccination program is going.
Well, it started really, really well. So we've got thousands of people in Newham and many tens of thousands across East London who've been vaccinated now. A really decent proportion of people aged over 80. A really large number of frontline health and social care workers. And soon that's going to be really reaching out to people in their 70s as well. And it's massively important. It really is our way out of this coronavirus mess.
Now, what I've got to ask, first off the bat, is I remember last week there was the decision to change the dosing, or was it 2 weeks ago? It wasn't too very long ago. There's the decision to change when to dose people. Now, will this mean that when people get their doses 12 weeks later instead of 3, the vaccine will still be effective?
So that is the assumption of the scientific community that have made, and policymakers that have made that recommendation. They think that absolutely that the immunity from the first dose, from the first jab, will last well beyond when that second dose comes in, and then the second dose will act as that long-term booster. So that's the theory, and the idea is very much to get as much vaccine into people as soon as possible, given the state of the pandemic, to protect the wider the population.
And the other thing I want to ask as well is it a case of, because we're hearing obviously that the Pfizer is the one that's been done first. Are we going to be using up the Pfizer reserves first and then going on to the Oxford AstraZeneca one after that? Because at the moment I don't know. I've had a few people sort of asking, am I going to be as safe if I've got to have one jab as opposed to 2? So is that a case of how it's working at the moment? It's a case of we're going through Pfizer first and then we'll go on to the next one after that? Or is it just a case of all being at the same time?
That's not the case. So it depends. We're using both in East London right now. So for example, at the most of the primary care sites, the GP-led sites in the community, are using the Pfizer vaccine right now. But at the Excel Centre, they're using AstraZeneca. They're going to be using AstraZeneca to get out to people who are housebound, because it's much easier to transport. So we're using both, and really what happens is that we use the supply that we get given nationally. So it's a combination of Pfizer and AstraZeneca, and at some point we'll also get the Moderna vaccine.
Brilliant. Something I want to ask, Jason, is apparently they're beginning to trial 24-hour COVID vaccination sites in London. Is Newham a part of that?
I don't know that actually yet. I've heard nothing more than what you've heard on the news around that. So I've not had any details about the 24-hour sites. Sorry on that one.
No worries. I mean, we're here to ask questions, and if you've got any questions for us, feel free as well. But it's great to just have you on the show to talk about it, because we're getting it straight from the horse's mouth, instead of several people down the line. I was just wondering about the massive the mass COVID vaccination site. I think, is that at the Excel Centre?
That's right. Yeah. It's not just so it's a regional site. So actually, people coming from outside London to that site.
And does that is there any sort of worry that if we've got people, say, coming from outside of London or anything like that, that could maybe increase the risk of transmission? Or is it a case of it's like, if you have any symptoms or anything like that, like, do not go there whatsoever?
So I think it's being run with a strong view to keeping people safe. I think most people going there will be driving there. It's not the most terribly accessible place by public transport. So I think people will be largely driving there, and then it will be run in a way to really minimise any infection risks. So I'm not too worried about that.
That's great to hear. And also, the other thing as well I wanted to bring up was something that I said in the first hour of the show. So I believe that Newham is still sort of getting over 1,000 confirmed cases in the last week. It's one of only 2 boroughs in London which are still over the 1,000 cases per 100,000 mark. I know there's been a drop of, I believe it was about 22% over the previous week. So for our listeners and people watching, obviously it's kind of good news tinged with a bit of bad. What would you say to those people that obviously we're trying to get that number down in the borough of Newham?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say that is I was very, very excited to see that this evening we've dipped below 1,000.
Oh, fantastic!
Which is in some ways just an arbitrary mark, but just feels like a good marker. So we peaked in Newham at over 1,400 cases per 100,000, and now we're below 1,000. And all the evidence suggests that over the next few days the rate will keep coming down. So my message to people listening is everything you're doing to control the spread of the virus is working. It is working. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's making a massive difference. The rate is coming down. That quite quickly feeds into reduced numbers of people going into our hospitals. It has a massive difference. It's going to keep coming down, I hope, consistently for the next couple of weeks too. And what we want to do is to get the rate absolutely as low as we possibly can do. We want to suppress the virus in the maximum possible way. It's still high, don't get me wrong. Creeping under 1,000 is not really is not a cause for popping balloons and champagne corks or whatever the expression is. It's very, very high, and we need to see it come down really hugely from there. But we're going in the right direction. The steps that people are taking to minimize social contact with others, as hard as it is making a big difference.
I've got 2 questions here from actually some of our listeners. If feel free, if you like, they're beyond your scope. But I've got someone from a campaigning group saying, why do they want to work Sunday in rolling out the vaccine? Is the plan to work? Is the plan to eventually roll out for 24/7?
So I could say I don't know exactly. I think we're already doing it 7 days a week. So the vaccine centres are already open 7 days a week. So like I say, I'm not entirely clear what the plans are for 24/7. Personally, I don't know how many people want to go get a vaccine at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I also, I think we have to consider our staff, our NHS staff who are dealing with a second wave right now. And getting a vaccine program up and running are doing an absolutely amazing job, and they are running on fumes. And I think as quickly as we want to do this, we also need to respect the basic human needs of our staff and our workers who are out there doing this incredibly hard job. Like I say, they're trying to get this vaccination program going at the same time as dealing with a very, very, very challenging second wave. So, policymakers will decide whatever they're going to do, but I think let's all bear in mind that we need to look after our healthcare staff as well.
Definitely. And my second question is a question that's been, pinging around my mind for quite a while now, and it's to do with the vaccine. Is it likely that we will need to revaccinate a lot of people in about a year's time? Could coronavirus, this strain, COVID-19, end up being sort of more a seasonal thing that we have to vaccinate the country for all the time, or will this vaccine give us lasting immunity?
So we just don't know. It's we just don't know. It's all too new, and there are a lot of unknowns, both in terms of the virus itself and how it mutates and changes, and the long-term effectiveness of the vaccine. It is entirely possible that, as with flu, we will need to do a vaccination program every year, and this will be a rolling thing. We just don't know, and only time will tell. We kind of need to get over this bit first, and then see how the science develops, how the epidemic develops. What I'm led to believe by those who are far more expert in these things than me is that the good thing is that the technology that underpins this vaccine is very adaptable. So So if it needs to be adapted to new strains, etc., it doesn't need to go back into a kind of a huge new process of scientific development. That the fundamental science is there, and that they can amend it relatively straightforwardly going forward. So that's hopefully to give people some confidence that it's not back. If a new vaccine is needed, it's not a case of back to square one. It really is a case of adapting what we've got.
So it wouldn't have to be sort of go through trials again or seek certification. That would still be okay off the initial research and development done.
I'm not sure about all of those details, but what definitely doesn't need to happen is the fundamental scientific development.
Wow. So I think by the sounds of it, we are starting to get a handle on it, which is amazing to hear. I mean, I know that my dad's actually had the first shot of the Pfizer vaccine this week, Friday just gone. Yeah, he's sort of quite happy about it. I mean, he's 65, but he has blood pressure. Well, it's only because he has a very low resting heart rate, so that's how he's been classed as high risk. But I was sort of asking him because I wanted to try and get him on the show, but he doesn't want to do radio or anything like that. And he was basically saying that it was just a case of like, my arm was a bit sore for the first bit of the day, but he's had no side effects or anything like that since. So
that's most people's experience, yeah.
That's it. Well, I mean, there is a joke I could say, but unfortunately we're live on the air, but I can't. But it deals with another name for a needle. So I said he's had me for 30 odd years, so he must be used to it. But but I think it's great to hear though that we're getting this rollout done. Dare I say it, quite effectively, and I'm hoping that, like you say, off the back of the figures that you said for Newham this week, we'll be able to sort of hopefully celebrate a little bit more by keeping it below the 1,000 mark next week.
Well, yeah, we want to just keep 1,000 is still very, very high, so we need to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully by this time next week it will be substantially lower, like several hundreds lower than it is right now.
Yeah.
Jason, I've got quite an important question to ask you, and it's that the government have been telling us that we really do need to abide by these lockdown restrictions, as the NHS could be completely overwhelmed. How bad is it?
It's really challenging. I think I can't overestimate how challenging it is, and that for all of our NHS staff working in hospitals, it's been an incredibly challenging time, and that wave one was incredibly hard, and the levels of admissions have exceeded that. So it's been hugely hard, and I really hope for them and for our communities that we are slowly on the better side of this. Although I think it's going to be, they're going to be dealing with a challenging situation for many weeks to come.
Is there anything people can do to help you out, to help the NHS out?
Well, I would say three things. One is stick to the rules, because every infection that we avoid happening helps to reduce that rate overall and makes a massive difference, and reduces the chance that someone becomes very unwell from coronavirus. Number two, to help with that, if you have to leave the house regularly for work or for caring for someone, get yourself regularly tested. We've got rapid tests now available at many sites across the borough, and people can go for people without symptoms who have to leave the house regularly to try and pick up on that asymptomatic spread. Remember, one third of infections from coronavirus are passed on by someone who has no symptoms at all, who has no idea that they've got coronavirus. So if you have to be out of the house, get yourself tested regularly to try and avoid spreading COVID inadvertently. And number three, if you're offered the vaccine, take the first available appointments, because that absolutely gets our community protected as quickly as possible. So those would be the three things that people can really do to help.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Is there any last message you'd like to give out to the listeners of Newham, or anything particularly you'd like to say to us?
No, just stay safe, keep doing what you're doing, we are collectively we're bringing that rate down, but we need to go much, much further before we're in a place where we can all get back to living life the way we want to and life as normal. So that's it.
Brilliant. Listen, Jason, thank you so much for coming on. I believe you'll be with us next week.
I hope so. That'll be good. Yeah. Hopefully,
Brilliant.
we can
back
talk
on.
about an even lower rates then.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's what we'll be hoping
More
for.
more vaccinations. Brilliant. Keep
Brilliant.
well.
We will. Thank you so much, Jason. Please do keep well yourself. To all our listeners, if you'd like to ask Jason questions, he'll be with us next week at 6 p.m. Please do drop us some comments and the links in the description, or maybe even call in next week at 0333 444 0940. We've got Newham's very own NHS correspondent here, so it'd be brilliant to have your questions. Anyway, thank you very much, Jason, for coming on, and we'll be seeing you next week. That's with Jason gone. It's now time to segue into some nice advertisements. Wouldn't you agree, Tom?
I think so.
And please do stay tuned, as we'll be right back after these messages. Remember, please do call in. You're listening to Revive FM 94.0.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit
Amigos, the signature name when it comes to burgers and shakes. Our succulent burgers are prepared in front of you while you wait. Whether you go for our 6-ounce Mexican...
That's 07944 565616. Advertise with Revive FM.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximize the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no-obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
कोविड-19 की नई तब्दील शुदा किस्म बहुत तेजी से फैल रही है। कोविड-19 से मुतासरा हर 3 अफराद में से एक में अलामात जाहिर नहीं होती हैं, लेकिन इनसे वायरस फैलता है, जो दूसरों की जिंदगियों को खतरे में डालेगा और एनएचएस पर फिर से दबाव बढ़ सकता है। वैक्सीन मुस्तकबिल की एक बड़ी उम्मीद है, लेकिन मुतासरीन की बढ़ती हुई तादाद को अभी से रोकना है। एक मर्तबा फिर हमें घरों पर रहना है, लेकिन अगर बाहर जाना मजबूरी है तो याद रखिए, हाथ धोएं, चेहरे को मास्क से ढांपें और दूसरों से फासला रखें। अपने घरों पर रहिए, एनएचएस को और अपनी जिंदगी को महफूज रखिए।
मिनहाज वेलफेयर फाउंडेशन में आपका अतिया जिंदगी की उम्मीद आपकी मदद से मुमकिन हुआ। दुनिया भर में 30 लाख से ज्यादा खवातीन, बुजुर्गों और बच्चों तक साफ पानी की फ्राहमी, मुतासरा इलाकों में हंगामी इमदाद, यतीम और बेसहारा बच्चों की दादरसी। इस साल हम आपके ताउन से और आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं। अपनी ज़कात, सदकात और खैरात के जरिए इन मंसूबों का हिस्सा बनिए। अभी कॉल कीजिए 0300 3030 777 या हमारी वेबसाइट विजिट करें www.minhajwelfare.org.
Minhaj School of Islamic Sciences provides quality Islamic education for children aged between 5 and 15 years old. As well as teaching classical Islam, including Tajweed, Fiqh, Seerah, and Aqidah, we endeavor to equip children with essential Islamic manners, morals, and values. Here at MSIS, our experienced teachers create an inspirational learning environment where we strive to cater for the needs of every child. For enrollment inquiries, inquire in person at Minhaj School of Islamic Sciences, Monday to Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. at 292-296 Rumford Road, or email admin.edu_London@minhajuk.org.
Someone in your supermarket who's pushed the same trolley or held the same basket is highly likely to have COVID-19. This is a national health emergency. Around 1 in 3 people have no symptoms and are spreading it without knowing. So try to limit how often you shop and try to go alone. Always cover your nose and mouth, keep a safe distance, and use hand sanitizer regularly. Stop the spread. Stick to the rules. If you bend the rules, people will die. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives.
COVID-19 remains highly contagious, and even people without symptoms can spread it. So we need to keep using hand sanitizer in shops, keep wearing our face coverings on the bus, keep making space at the school gates, And now we're indoors more, we should let fresh air in to help blow COVID-19 particles away. Let's keep doing all we can to protect each other and help stop the spread. Remember, hands, face, space, and let fresh air in.
Revive FM.
94.0. On the radio.
On your mobile.
And online.
Hello, you're listening to Revive FM. My name is Henry Scott, and I'm here in the studio with
Tom Hutchinson.
And I'm Scott, and he's
Hutch.
And we're doing this weird dancey thing because we're at home.
I know.
Revive FM. Please do call in on 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. We want to hear your thoughts about coronavirus or Donald Trump's presidency, or perhaps something nice that happened to you this week.
Yeah.
Act of kindness, anyone? Tom, anything nice happened to you this week?
Well, just got a bit of information on the old housing front. That obviously I have a new buyer who's come on board, as the other one was it didn't work out. So I've had that. I had the news that 2 of my family members have been vaccinated for coronavirus as well, and they're both doing fine. So my nan, who's 93 and up in Yorkshire, although bless her, she is a little bit lonely at the moment because none of her family can come and visit her, living in a care home. So, but she's doing absolutely fine. My dad's had it at 65, or as I'm now calling it 65 plus 1, because his 65th didn't really work out last year.
18th, to be honest.
I know it's terrible, isn't it? Like it's all these sort of birthdays that are just not happening, are they? It's a real shame. But I'm hoping, because I've got a nice little idea for him planned this year. Well, we're supposed to be going to a motorbike race, which we were going to do last year for his 65th, and hopefully he won't be listening to this. But there's a famous motorcycle world champion called Angel Nieto, who, because he was superstitious, he wasn't a 13-time world champion, he was the 12+1 champion. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to see if I can get a shirt made up with the logo, and I'm going to have Edward Allen Hutchinson 65+1, and have that for when we go to the bike race in August, hopefully. So we'll have to see what happens.
Very nice, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I hope so, because it's like, that was going to be his big thing. His partner had paid for us to go to a hotel and got the tickets and everything. So it was a good couple of £100. And unfortunately, because we weren't allowed to go, it was it's all been scuppered, really. So we've managed to get it all rebooked and everything. But I suppose it just depends on, will we get let in? Will it even take place this year? The calendar's not actually been announced just yet for the MotoGP Championship, but we're just waiting to see really what's gonna happen. So
yeah.
Hopefully it won't be too long, but then we can find out. As you can see, I've sort of come out in solidarity with him. I've got my little bike jumper on. So, and yeah, what about you, mate? It's like, obviously you mentioned you've got a new love in your life, so which is I'm absolutely made up for you. So. I mean, that's literally all I can say is I raise my glass to you, sir. My glass of hot chocolate.
Well, do you know what I'm finding the issue is at the minute? I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Not in my relationship. We've still got plenty to talk about. Don't worry about that. I mean, just on the radio in general, because we're not what is it? We're not doing anything. We're not.
I know.
I did get yelled at by a woman in her car the other day while I was cycling, which was quite irritating. It was coming at the roundabout. She stopped and she waved to let me out. And then as I was going across, she started to move again and nearly ran me over, and she had to slam on her brakes. And so I was like, "What are you doing?" And then she was like, and then she started, mouthing off to me and give me all sorts of nasty hand gestures, which can't be repeated on the radio.
Was it the idiot sign language? Was it?
Yeah. That's about as interesting as my week's getting at this point.
It's lockdown life, isn't it? We should do a podcast, Lockdown Life. What happened this week? Got shouted at by an old lady behind a car.
Well, I think we should come up with some fun things to do, like absolutely ridiculous things about lockdown that are interesting to be honest. Because what do you know? What right? When did we go into lockdown in January? When was it?
It was January 5th, I think, wasn't it? 4th of January.
It's only been 2 weeks.
I know. It's like I tell you what though. I tell you what always happens. You want something that will make you laugh, right? I was just talking about my nan, right? Bless her. She's got ears like a bat, right? So I've just had a message because I got.
Hold on, Tom. I need to clarify something here. She's got ears like a bat. Bats' ears aren't. Does that mean good or bad?
Very good. Very
Okay,
good.
right. Yeah,
Well, this is the thing. It's kind of good and bad because I always say to her, Nan, I'm doing the show. You can't contact me between 5 and 7. What does she do? 6:30, she's trying to FaceTime me. I mean, in fairness, there is something to be said for a 93-year-old able to do a video call. But every week I say, Nan, you can't contact me between the 7. Okay, I won't do it next week. Next week, ring it again. Every time.
That's what happens, isn't it?
Should I wind her up? We could just get her on right now. Should we just do that? Just go, like, Nan, you're live on air.
Shall I get my grandma on one week, and you get your grandma on one
Let's
week?
do it.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice addition to the show. I think we should get everyone's grandparents on. We should let them run the show for 1 week, don't you?
Yeah,
agree?
geriatric time on Revive FM.
Not a bad pitch, actually. So I'm at the local church. They do a church in Leytonstone. Hi to anyone listening in Leytonstone. Hope you're doing well. St. John's Church in Leytonstone regularly has a once a month coffee evening for the geriatric and octogenarian group. You know, it's like a sort of coffee morning, and there's lots of old 40s and 50s music played by a pianist who volunteers there. Very, very lovely event. And it's quite funny because my dad says there's such a generational gap, and because the older generation used to applaud themselves after they'd done something, so they'll all sing a song and then they'll all applaud themselves, and he says it's so funny.
I know but the thing is though, is that it's quite because it's back in the time when you could give yourself a pat on the back and you could give yourself a round of applause for doing something well. Now it's someone will just like going, oh, what you want praise for that? Or do you want kudos for that? I could have done that myself. It's a bit like sort of, come on, I just did that. I mean, I always remember. I know it sounds really stupid, but I was like, I had to learn how to replace a car battery when my mum passed away because I was selling the car and it wouldn't move because the battery had been dead. It had been sat there for the best part of 2 years, and I was quite proud the fact that I managed to connect it all up, wire it all up, get it all changed and everything like that. And then I told my my girlfriend at the time, she went, "We just changed the battery." I was like, "Well, have you ever done it?" She went, "Well, no, but it's not that hard, is it?" I went, "Oh, why don't you come down and help me out then?" This is back when you could actually sort of move freely with things. But then again, she wasn't a very nice person anyway, so oh well. But it's quite nice. I mean, that's quite a nice little idea, that, and I think also. Because this is what my nan was telling me about, like where she's had a few of her residents or a few of her neighbours, to put it loosely, have passed away of the virus or of other things. And, there's not really that camaraderie there. They used to go down for coffee mornings in her block, and that's now been cancelled. And she says the only sort of communication she gets, like, actual face-to-face contact, is her cleaning lady who comes in and just tidies up around her flat. And she says it's nice and everything, and she spends about an hour and a half there, but that's an hour and a half a week, and like there's not much else. There's not much other interaction that she has really, apart from when she's trying to call me between the 2 hours I tell her not to every week.
Yeah, no,
so
I totally agree.
Yeah, but I think I'd say hope. Well, maybe that's a little thing. If we've got anyone who's listening, just check up on an elderly person as well. Just drop them a message.
Call up your grandparents.
Exactly, because bless them, there'll come a time when they won't be available to contact. So, and trust me, I know from experience having lost one that in 2004, and I still miss her to this day. If I'm brutally honest with you, it's my mum's mum, and she always said to me I was like her sort of. Her fifth child, and it's one of those little things. But anyway, we're getting a bit too morbid now, aren't we? I mean, should we?
Yeah. But what I was thinking about, Tom, was what I'd done is I was thinking, let's start up ourselves some a new segment, and so I was, let's start up an act of kindness segment, some happy stories for the week. And I reached out far and wide on social media into many groups, Wanstead Community Hub, London Stayers, and I reached out to Leytonstone Life, a Newham Community Group as well. Thousands and thousands of people are in these groups, very active, hundreds and hundreds of posts a day. I was looking for a lot of interaction. And do you know how many kind stories I got?
I want to say 2 times 3, carry the 4, divided by the square root of the hypotenuse, 0.
Yes, you'd be absolutely right. I got absolutely nothing.
Doesn't it make you laugh though? And it's like,
I mean, I didn't get any acts of kindness stories or anything like happies that that happened to them. But I did get a message from Shakarim, who I'm going to reach out to after this. He says, I'd love to take part on the radio if there's an opportunity. Either way, I would encourage people to say hello or smile to strangers. A simple smile could make someone's day, especially in these times. And I've taken that on board this week. So what I've got for you advice of our new segment, Acts of Kindness, this week, very, very short, unless you have an act of kindness, a happy story you know about, Tom, is just smile at strangers randomly.
Yeah, but just, like a quick passing smile, because you don't want to leave it too long, do you? Because otherwise they might start thinking you're a bit creepy. You come along, you just you go like,
yeah, you just leave it a really
just keep walking around, yeah.
Right in the eyes and eyes open very, very wide.
That's the thing.
Interestingly, though, I also did get another message, another act of kindness, which was somebody said, "Thank you, good luck." So I was like, "Do you have any acts of kindness?" I said, "No, but good luck," which was very helpful. We've got a phone call. No way.
Do we?
Be someone calling in with a random act of kindness. That would be brilliant. Let's answer the phone.
Go for it.
Hello, caller. You're on the line with Revive FM. Have you got an act of kindness for us?
I do. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Do tell.
Well, I was just driving home. I had to pull over. I always enjoy your show at drive time. Yeah, hence drive time, I guess.
Oh, that's very nice.
There's a guy. Yeah, no, clear. I enjoy you guys very much. In Leytonstone, there's a guy called Bill, and he is 101. And he still zooms about on his chair, and he's seen in the community. He fought in the war and everything. He got COVID. He got COVID 2 weeks ago, and of course, everyone had their hearts in their mouth. And he's recovered at 101 from COVID. And the story of kindness comes to about 3 months ago. His next door neighbor, Ray, who's also a member of the Legion, took him to visit his granddaughter in Southend. Okay, here's the story, guys. Before he went to Southend, he was totally depressed with lockdown, could hardly get out on his mobile scooter, isn't able to use the phone that easily. He came back from Southend a changed man after only 2 days. What had happened? This almost brings a tear to your eyes. His granddaughter took him for a walk on the pier. She then bought him fish and chips, which they had when they got home. And she then sat up and talked all night to him, reminiscing. And do you know something? That was all he needed in lockdown. Just some straightforward human companionship. And the reason I thought of this, and I thought of your act of kindness segment, is this. At the moment, I don't think it could be more depressing. You know, the numbers are up, the virus is scooting around more, the death toll is up. I get the feeling the government aren't being straight with us, and I would love it if you guys could give us on your views. Do you think the government are being straight with us? Can you see a light at the end of the tunnel? You know, what hope can you give us all out here?
Do you want to start first, Henry, or do you want me to go
No,
for it?
go for it, Tom.
I think, to be honest with you, I think there has got to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think it's going to be this year. I did think it last year. I tried to be an optimist, but that's only because the other side of me doesn't bear thinking about it. I think we will. There is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I think the vaccination is going to help. I mean, as we were speaking to Jason earlier on, just in Newham, for example, the numbers are coming down, which is great. And as I said at the start of the show, numbers in London are now starting to actually tail off a little bit. So we're not getting as high a number. But I also think that, speaking of random acts of kindness, things like that is what the elderly are missing. Is like you say, is that companionship. It is that being able to speak to someone. And while it's nice that someone can, like my nan, for example, FaceTime and video call and WhatsApp and things like that, it's not the same as actually sitting next to someone, shooting the breeze for 2 or 3 hours, or spending time with your family. And it's a real shame. But I hope so. And I think that I feel like the government is trying to be open and honest, but I just wish they would stop flip-flopping. Just pick a route to go down and stick to it. If you make a mistake, then own up and say, "Yep, sorry, we got it wrong." But at least let's go down that route before we take 2 steps and then say, "Do you know what? Let's we're not going to do that now. We're going to do something else."
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Yeah, listener, there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. And as you say, it's acts of kindness like that that's more of make the world go round, because we can think all big picture and think about how things are going in general, but at the end of the day, it's really the small things that count, like just smiling at a stranger or taking your next door neighbor to go down and see his daughter. And I think that's such a touching story you've told us. So thank you for sharing that with us.
No, that's okay. I got a cheeky question for Tom. Would I be allowed to ask a cheeky question?
Oh,
you'd better
yeah,
hurry.
Go on in.
I'll be. Tom, would you agree that Sterling Moss is the greatest racing car driver of all time?
Oh, now it depends. Oh, I like that. That's a Formula One question.
Quick.
I thought you might like that. You don't have to answer it now. I'll leave that thought with you.
There's loads of different variables which will give me a reason to say yes and no on that one. I mean, that's my political answer. Yes and no.
Brilliant. Right. Listener, thanks so much for calling in. It's been great to chat with you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week and day and month and lockdown. We've just lost him there, but I hope if he's still listening, let's hope he has a really nice day, because that is an absolutely touching act of kindness. And let's hope Bill, who's 101 in Leytonstone, is doing all right with the lockdown, and hopefully he gets to see his family real soon. We're going to go to a quick break now. Please do stay tuned. Remember, if you've got an act of kindness you'd like to share with us on the radio, then please call in on 0333 444 0940. That's 0333 444 0940. Please do stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Someone in your supermarket who's pushed the same trolley or held the same basket is highly likely to have COVID-19. This is a national health emergency. Around 1 in 3 people have no symptoms and are spreading it without knowing. So try to limit how often you shop and try to go alone. Always cover your nose and mouth, keep a safe distance, and use hand sanitizer regularly. Stop the spread. Stick to the rules. If you bend the rules, people will die. Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives.
नमस्कार, हम जानते हैं कि हमारी कम्युनिटीज में ये चिंता है कि ये वैक्सीन कैसे काम करेगा। इसलिए इस विषय पर बात करने के लिए आज हमारे साथ डॉक्टर शाहब कुरैशी, सीनियर जीपी।
शुक्रिया मंजी। इम्यून सिस्टम की हिफाजत के लिए वैक्सीनेशन जरूरी है बनिस्बत इसके कि आप बीमार हों। मुख्तलिफ वैक्सीन मुख्तलिफ ग्रुपों में हो सकता है बेहतर काम करें और ज्यादा मुफीद साबित हो। जिंदगी की हर शोबे से तकरीबन 30,000 लोगों ने इन ट्रायल्स में हिस्सा लिया। मैं एक फ्रंटलाइन जीपी हूं और इस कोरोना वायरस के मर्ज में मुब्तला हुआ। मेरी आपसे इल्तिजा है और इल्तमास है कि इस वैक्सीन को प्लीज आप इस्तेमाल करें और मैक्सिमम लोग जो हैं इस वैक्सीनेशन प्रोग्राम में हिस्सा लें।
डॉक्टर शाहब कुरैशी जी, कोविड-19 वैक्सीन बहुत बड़ा कदम है और साथ मिलकर चलेंगे हम वायरस को हरा सकते हैं। जबरदस्त टेस्टिंग हो चुकी है और रोल आउट के लिए NHS भी तैयार हैं। अधिक जानकारी के लिए विजिट nhs.uk/covid-vaccination।
Hello to everyone listening. This is a message from the Redbridge Public Health Team. Redbridge Council is holding an online public meeting about the COVID-19 vaccination, and we're inviting residents to join. It will be taking place on Wednesday, January the 20th at 1 p.m. The meeting is aimed at engaging directly with our local communities to explain the importance of vaccination and how it will work alongside other measures to contain and control the spread of COVID-19. On the meeting panel will be the Director of Public Health for Redbridge, local NHS health professionals and medical experts, as well as the borough's cabinet member for health. They will be providing information about the vaccine, the vaccination programme, and myth-busting some of the negative messages around the vaccine, as well as answering questions from the public. To join the meeting, click on the live link on Redbridge Council's website homepage, www.redbridge.gov.uk, on Wednesday the 20th of January at 1 p.m. Now, more than ever, we must all play our part to help keep our families and loved ones safe. So please join the meeting to stay informed and keep following the government instruction to stay at home to control the virus, protect the NHS and save
Super
lives.
Best Meze Grill, the Turkish restaurant where all our food is prepared to perfection. Our mixed grill family platters include lamb shish, chicken shish, Adana kebab, lamb ribs, chicken doner, chicken wings, and lamb chops. And all are served with rice, salad, along with a selection of our cold mezes. To see our full menu, go to superbestmezegrill.co.uk. For the perfect dining setting, visit us now at 21 to 23 Broadway, Stratford, E15 4B, or call 0208 555 335. Super Best Meze Grill.
कोविड-19 की नई तब्दील शुदा किस्म बहुत तेजी से फैल रही है। कोविड-19 से मुतासरा हर 3 अफराद में से एक में अलामात जाहिर नहीं होती हैं, लेकिन इनसे वायरस फैलता है, जो दूसरों की जिंदगियों को खतरे में डालेगा और एनएचएस पर फिर से दबाव बढ़ सकता है। वैक्सीन मुस्तकबिल की एक बड़ी उम्मीद है, लेकिन मुतासरीन की बढ़ती हुई तादाद को अभी से रोकना है। एक मर्तबा फिर हमें घरों पर रहना है, लेकिन अगर बाहर जाना मजबूरी है तो याद रखिए, हाथ धोएं, चेहरे को मास्क से ढांपें और दूसरों से फासला रखें। अपने घरों पर रहिए, एनएचएस को और अपनी जिंदगी को महफूज रखिए।
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk or contact our sales team now on 07944 565616. That's 07944 565616. Advertise with Revive FM.
Revive FM.
94.0. On the radio.
On your mobile.
And online.
Hello, you're listening to Revive FM. My name is Henry Scott and welcome. And this is Scott and Hutch. I'm Scott and he's
Hutch.
And welcome. We've been having quite a good, nice show today. It's on your Tuesday drive time show on Revive FM. And we've had a caller. We've had a random act of kindness. We've spoken among Donald Trump. Donald Trump will be actually leaving the office of the President of the United States tomorrow, which has been a bad dream. Breaking news. I actually have Mitch McConnell, who is a senior Republican and leader of the Senate before tomorrow until the new Senate leaders are sworn in. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that the mob that attacked the Capitol riots last week were provoked by the president. And this has meant that the senior Republican has raised the possibility that he could go to convict Donald Trump in the impeachment trial, which is likely to happen, this comment from Mitch McConnell alone means that it is likely Donald Trump will not ever be able to run for president again.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. I think he's seriously a man who needs to stop.
He is a man who, dare I say it in the broadest sense of the word, needs help.
No, I think he's beyond help. Frankly, Tom, I think he's an old man who's stubborn in his ways, and he just shouldn't be allowed near public service. His family's not fit for public service, in my opinion.
No, I think I said it on last week's show that he's not a politician by any stretch of the imagination. He never studied politics, as far as I'm aware, in school or any sort of education. I think there needs to be a prerequisite. Like, where they say, like, in president, you have to be a US citizen or you have to be born in the United States to be, so you can run for the presidency. There also needs to be a thing that you need to have a certain number of years as a politician or a certain level before you can go for that. Like, you have to be, I don't know, you have to be a governor, you have to be a senator or something like that. I think would make sense, because at least that way you know what you're talking about and you kind of have a rough idea as what's going on, as opposed to Trump, who, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I've got to watch how I say this because this could sound like I'm actually endorsing him. I think it's good that it's someone who doesn't stick to a script. That's what I always say, like with a politician, I always think that's quite nice. I don't want someone a bit like Boris Johnson in Prime Minister's Question Time, where they go, well, I think the right honourable gentleman is right on this, but we are going to do this, and if that doesn't work, we are then going to this, and doesn't answer anything. I think what Trump does when he will actually, give a straight.
The thing is, and I remember back in 2015, before, I educated myself on many of the reasons why he's not a man for politics and a man who should not doesn't deserve my respect or anyone's, in my opinion, frankly, is that Donald Trump, Donald Trump did give a straight answer. He seemed like a completely normal guy. He laughed in the face of.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sorry,
And
you've completely hit the nail on the head.
He was. I think the key phrase was a commoner among royalty. I think that was the phrase, and everyone thought, here's a man running for president, and he still has the common touch of the people. And I think that's what he tapped into across America, and he tapped into the message against what everyone was feeling is that there's a lot of political apathy in the UK and in the US right now. And I think Boris Johnson, while a populist, doesn't have the same dangerous kind of disrespect for democracy that Donald Trump has, which is why he's, whilst being a populist and playing into populist kind of like fields of view, he's less dangerous for democracy in the UK as a whole. He's not great for it, but he's not dangerous. Donald Trump is dangerous because he's not willing to respect democracy, because he truly does not like the establishment and the elite that surround him.
I think also what it is as well is that, and again, I've got to watch how I say this because I could be insulting people of the United States. I've got friends out there as well. With the American people, the American public, they follow their president like it's the second coming. Sometimes they'll go, they'll blindly follow him, and they go, oh yes, Mr. President, yes, Mr. President, yes, Mr. President. With us, because the British public are quite what's the word? So almost like self-deprecating.
I'd say we're quite consensus.
Yeah, and we're very, we don't sort of like we like to put people down, shall we say?
Yes,
and it's kind of. Whereas the Americans will go, yes, Mr. Trump, we will follow you to the ends of the earth. I'm doing that for. Good thing you couldn't see what I just did there. We'll follow you to the ends of the earth. We'll walk over broken glass for you. We'll crawl on our bellies. We'll do this. If the Brits are asked to do that, we're going to go, you want us to do what? Get out. And that's the kind of thing. So that's why I truly feel like a British Prime Minister will never fully have the backing of the UK people, even though they were voted in. Just because there is that level of, mate, we ain't going to do that. We've got self-respect. And also, you're not one of us. And that is the problem. And I think, like you say, Trump definitely tapped into that. Look, I'm not a politician. I will give you a straight answer. I'll do that. And, fair play. But the problem was he then turned into a bit of a psychopath after, let's be honest, halfway through his first term, or maybe even at the end of his first year. He was turning into it. No, halfway through his term, I think he completely lost the plot.
He's not fit for office, and the thing is, what we do have to watch.
He's not fit for the public domain. If I'm brutal,
I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not. Not for a second am I saying to any Americans listening, if there are any who are Republican supporters, I'm not saying you can't be a Republican, because I don't think Trump is a Republican. I think Republicans actually respect democracy, even if they do their best at a bit of gerrymandering and suppressing here and there. The Democrats are just as bad on that front. I think it goes both sides. Everyone plays dirty to win. And something which I worry that could happen in this country is the divisions in my generation are already there. I get scared. I was in an Exeter uni offer chat, and everyone was going, oh yeah, Tory scum, yeah, cancel Tories. And I think, right, well, listen, I'm not exactly a fan of people of the government and blah, 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 who fail on so many issues and all that jazz. I'm not the largest fan of the Conservative government. I'm not a big fan of Conservative ideology, but it is important that we just have to respectfully disagree. Do you get that feeling at the minute, Tom? There's such like Tory scum. Oh, imagine supporting a Tory. It's like, no. It's a political opinion. Can we not get mad at people for having differences? It's important to talk that out. They're not evil people. Because what I hate is a lot of gaslighting goes on. Oh, you like starving children. No one likes starving children. I spoke to an MP, Gagan Mahindra, the other day at this like talk to an MP evening, and I said, what was the reason for voting against free school meals? And he says, well, put it right. Listen, it was an opposition day in the parliament, and the legislation was quite broad sweeping, and it included some things that were definitely not okay on the agenda, and so we voted it down. So that's just to grab a headline. It doesn't. And he says no minister or MP wants to starve children. No minister or MP wants to starve children. It's just ridiculous.
I think, like you say, the fact is that the UK media, or any media around the world worth their salt, they want that headline that's going to get them to sell a newspaper or to click on an ad or something like that. That's the thing. So the whole starving children thing in the UK. I mean, even Rufus Hound made mention to it on Dancing on Ice the other week. The fact is, I most likely, and again, I'm not going to defend or I'm going to punish or anything like that. I simply think that the government was told, okay, for this contract, we can give X, Y, and Z to children. What they were promised and what they got were two completely different things. I don't truly believe that the government would quite happily go, yeah, you can survive on half a cucumber and a bag of rice for 10 days.
3 frubes.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way that anyone in their right mind would do that. It is truly the case that I think that obviously these companies have to make a profit. They have to do that. And all that happens is that someone goes to the press and they'll then get a story out of it. And that's what happens. So it is the way it's spun. But then politicians and political parties have their own things. That's why they're called spin doctors, to try and to whip something up. That's how we ended up with the whole Iraq dossier back in 2003, because it was washed up into such a storm that we were kind of told we had to go into it. We had to go and fight Iraq. And to be honest, all we did was we turned a bunch of rocks into slightly smaller rocks.
Exactly, and what happened in Iraq is just an international travesty, and it's glad that those kind of things don't happen anymore. Intervention is over. We've got to finish, but Tom, you bring up an excellent point there, because realistically, nothing's an issue until people decide, or the media decide it's an issue. The whole QAnon thing. QAnon pages got shut down on Facebook, but what propped up in its place? Child trafficking. 800,000 kids a year was the fake statistic that people brought to the table. It's just absolutely nonsensical. I don't understand it, mate. It's ridiculous. I think the message we've got to give to people is stay vigilant and focus on the things which aren't necessarily being thrown to you in front of your phone, because
exactly
there was an entire Ebola epidemic in the Congo last year. And I had no idea, because none of the media outlets were reporting it, because it wasn't of a concern and it wouldn't sell papers.
It's true. It's the same as what happened in Hong Kong with all the stuff that's going on there. You only saw a small portion of it. That's the thing. But then that's the whole
picture.
Yeah, that's it. You'll only was it when you said, I think, was it your girlfriend who said there was stuff happening in China and we know it's going on, but like we don't get involved, or it's exactly. So it's a real concern, really.
But I mean, I suppose the message you've got to give to people is keep your eyes open, and also keep your ears open, because we're going to go to some ads now, and me and Tom will be finishing our show for this evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Scott, and he's been
Hutch.
And this has been Scott and Hutch on Revive FM 94.0. Please do stay tuned. There'll be other shows after this, and please do tune in next Tuesday, as me and Tom will be on the line, and we'll also be speaking to Jason Strelitz again. We'd love to have some questions from you guys about coronavirus or vaccinations, all important information, and we're here at Revive FM keeping you nice and updated and keeping your information up to date. Please do stay tuned. We'll be right back next week.
See ya.
Through Minhaj Welfare Foundation, your giving saves lives.